right. All right. All right. What's going on, y'all? We should be live everywhere. Don't play with me. We should be live everywhere. We have no time for technical difficulties. We should be live everywhere. All right. No long terms. We should be live everywhere. No. Are we live on Facebook? Are we live? Are we live? Everywhere? Are we live everywhere? Are we live everywhere? Let's see if we live on Twitter, on Facebook before we get popping. Welcome in for anyone who's tuning in. If I'm just rocking out with myself, that's okay as well. You know, this is my third stream in, and you already know one thing about it is that and what's it called? There's always like a 5-10 minutes of technical difficulties, but we make it work. Save. Let's toggle this on. Let's see. Let's see. I should be live everywhere. Let's see. I'm getting better. I am getting better. All right, I'm live. I'm live on Facebook. I am getting better at this technical stuff. You know what I'm saying? The first time I did it, it was like 20 minutes. The second time I did it, it was like 15 minutes. And now that I'm doing it again, it's about 10 minutes, 10 minutes strong. I think I got the chat. What's it called? I got the chat in as well. I got the chat in easy, but let me just make sure. You see, this is the problem right now. How do I? Okay. Let's edit this. 1 second, y'all. We're going to get flying in a second. If I'm rocking for myself, even better. Just give me a second. It's part of the game. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Okay. Who's here with me? You know that technical difficulties is part of the game. Give me a second. Keep quiet. Technical difficulties is part of the game. What's going on, guys? I'm just making sure that everything is delivered fresh, and we should be rocking in the next 2-3 minutes. But yeah, y'all know technical difficulties is part of the game. If there wasn't a few, it wouldn't be me. Why is it coming out like this? Is it live? Okay, we live. We got 3 people in here. 2 people now. But it's all good. It's all love. Okay. All right. Welcome to the PYM live show Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying? I'm very much excited. It's been fun a couple of weeks or a couple of days. It feels like weeks. Oh, what's up, Ivan? Okay. We have some squad in here. What's going on? If anyone who's tuning in, thanks for joining on. It's not even though not some technical difficulties. Like I said, I will become better. I am becoming better. Every single time I touch this thing, my goal is to become better. At first, I didn't even know how to fix the title. So y'all need to give me credit. But welcome to the PYM live show. Like always, my name is Kelvin. We're just focused on just kind of figuring out this thing called the mind. That's all we're focused on: how to make it better, how to keep it strong. The reason, hey, what's going on, Samo? Thanks for joining in. This is like YPYM, or YPYM just stands for Protect Your Mental. As I always say, it is just something that I decided to do just because I realized that there's a lot of craziness going on in the world, and I felt that, having a place that we can openly share and simplify keeping our mental health up is important. And I felt like it'd be cool to stream it everywhere. So we should be live on Twitch. We should be live on YouTube. We should be live on Facebook. I'm certain of it. If we're not, I'm gonna make sure. Yeah. For tonight's show, like I always say, YPYM. I like to give a YPYM, because at the end of the day, if we don't actually put some focus on the mind now, then when will we? That's a simple YPYM. There is everything under the sun is being answered for, and I feel like once we have more answers to everything around us, it's the best space for us to start looking for answers within. So that's an easy YPYM. For tonight's show, we have just 2 or 3 things on the agenda, and I'm gonna get out of here. Last show I was able to go for like a good 45 minutes to an hour, so I'm gonna peg it at an hour, and then we're out of here, if that makes sense. But one thing I would say, subscribe. That's what the streamers say, so I can try to say something. Subscribe. That's all I'll say. Subscribe right off the top. Subscribe. But wherever you're watching the show, wherever you're watching your show from, thanks for tuning in tonight. We're gonna get right to it. Just something that I had on the mind to talk about today, rocking out is, I'm just talking about myself. I am someone who is a homebody. I'm someone who's a homebody. I don't know if anybody's like that, but I'm too good at being at home to the point where, like, even sometimes my own family is looking for me. Sometimes now, if the only person who's actually consistently good at finding me is my girl. But other than that, I'm a homebody. And I felt like it'd be interesting to discuss like homebodyism, if that's a word, what that's like, and not just homebodying, but the essence of being alone, if that makes sense. The essence of being alone. I don't know. Like, I feel like we're in a space and time where there's a lot of focus on. People feel like, we're connected through social medias, we're connected through channels, you have people around you, but for some strange reason, like, people feel like they're to themselves and by themselves, and I felt like it'd be a cool thing to talk about, because what does that look like for some people? What does that mean? Like, what is being alone represent to you? Because I feel like there's sometimes a negative a negative stigma that's put on being alone. And sometimes it's like people always replace like loneliness and being alone as like interchangeable. That if you're always alone, then you just you must have like high levels of loneliness. And I felt like that may not necessarily be the case. I don't know. Like, I'm someone who is like I thrive best alone. Like, I am someone who, you give me a space where I can just, I have a good book or I have a good show, I will disappear for like 2-3 days. And, I remember, like, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, his sister, and she was saying how, like, she's someone who's, she's a working professional, and she's reached a lot of different places. She's done a lot of different things. And it's like, now there's like, people feel like she's getting a lot of pressure from family or whatever, like, like when she's coming getting a partner, when she's starting to think of starting a relationship and things like that. And she didn't have any like typical thing to say of, it's not necessarily like I'm not interested. She just said, I'm just good by myself. And when she said that, the conversation got like really awkward for some strange reason, because we were in a group of people. It was her, like another friend of hers, a sister, a coworker, and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, okay. They just said, oh, okay. And I'm like, why did the conversation get awkward when she just said, she described that she enjoys being alone? And I thought that'd be something cool to talk about, because, where we are at, like, I feel sometimes it's like it's an important thing to distinguish what it means to be alone and what it means to be lonely, if that makes sense. Like, being alone just means there's no one around. Being lonely means you need someone around you, right? I think that's two different things. And like, being alone can be fun, being alone can be sad. It just depends on your personality, right? I don't know, like, people say I'm lonely, or like I'm alone, I'm by myself, and they always relate it to something negative. They relate it to being by yourself is just a terrible thing, and I don't think that to be the case. I think like being alone is sometimes, for me personally, I don't know for anybody else, but I get my best thinking done when I'm by myself. You know what I'm saying? The good and bad. Like, I get my best thinking done when I'm by myself. But for someone who's lonely, sometimes they end up feeling like I have to have someone beside me. So they're probably thinking in the worst state. So loneliness, sometimes I feel like you can be thinking in the worst possible ways, and being alone, you can be thinking and being alone could be a good space for thinking, positively, or thinking productively, So like, I don't know, why is it that like people put such a stigma on being alone? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to have someone beside you, because sometimes forcing someone beside you, at the end of the day, it can actually put you in a place where, because you feel like you have someone beside you, you're opening your mouth unnecessarily. And we're gonna and we'll talk about one day I'm gonna talk about like opening your mouth unnecessarily. Like that is one of the worst things you could be doing. Like, just opening your mouth unnecessarily. I'm a person, I feel like the more you talk when you have nothing to say, one, the stupider you sound, or two, the more useless things are coming out of your mouth. Right? So being like suffering from loneliness, one, forces you to try to put someone beside you. And when you put someone beside you, you have to like try and create communications with the person who you put beside you, or the people you put beside you, right? So I feel like it's not necessarily being alone that's the bad thing. It's like letting loneliness, and I feel like, and I've gone on, like, loneliness is like, it's just like a need, if that makes sense, that you put on yourself. That's the biggest thing. I feel like from my again, PYM Live, we're here every time. The PYM militia, PYM gang, it's always a third party perspective. It's a third party perspective, right? And I feel from a third party perspective, people introduce loneliness onto themselves. That's my perspective. I feel like people introduce loneliness onto themselves because they like see someone with someone else, or they see someone in a social setting, like they see something that they feel they don't have, and then they say, I need that, if that makes sense. Like, I need that picture. So if it's like a group of friends, I need that group of friends. It's like if someone with their loved ones, I need that to, like, if it's someone with their girl or with their guy, I need that. And then because they say I need that, then they say, because I don't have that, now I'm lonely. But it's like nobody forced it on you. You forced it on yourself. You know what I'm saying? You put yourself in that predicament where it's like, I need someone beside me by force. Who put it on you? You know what I mean? Like, who put it on you? You did, right? So loneliness is not like out of something that is uncontrollable. I'm lonely. Like, woe is me. You control that. To me, at least. Again, no shorts, no shade, right? You control that, bro. And I feel like it's something that, it affects us in a way, because when you put yourself in a state of loneliness, you make irrational decisions. You know what I'm saying? You text someone you don't want to be texting. You talk to someone who you actually know has nothing to offer you. When you're lonely. When you're lonely, you go outside when there's nothing outside for you. You know what I mean? Like, when you feel lonely, you can make some of the dumbest decisions when you feel lonely. Right? So, like, it's not, being alone is not the negative thing. It's feeling lonely that can be dangerous. You know what I mean? So again, I'm thinking about it like loneliness versus being alone. Like, the second thing I feel like when it comes to loneliness is it's like you spend too much time thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your whole focus is the fact that you don't have someone beside you, you know what you end up doing? You end up obsessing about it. Like, it becomes an obsession, if that makes sense. Like, you start to like really feel like it's a must have, to the point where you might even neglect other priorities, or you might neglect other things that make you you, right? So like, what's the point of trying to focus on, like, what's the point of saying because you're lonely you're going to focus on someone else beside, like, being beside you, to the point where you start to neglect the things that make you you? Because even if someone does come beside you, because you focused on trying to have someone beside you, you neglected the things that actually make you you, if that makes sense, right? So like, when loneliness gets you, when loneliness gets this thing, it's like it becomes an obsession, and that can be dangerous, bro. Like, it can be seriously dangerous when you put yourself in that kind of predicament, when you put your mind in that kind of predicament, because, bro, the truth of the matter is, and I'm not like, it's not antisocial vibes, but you don't need a damn body. You just, like, you don't need anybody. That, like, let's say that, like, you don't need, like, there's your family. Don't get me wrong. There's your loved ones. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're bad. But you don't actually need someone. You know what I'm saying? You can have someone beside you. It's better to be of value to someone than to need someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you need someone, there's different. Like, if someone is valuable to you and you're valuable to them, it's it's two-way, it's healthy, it's developing. But to need someone, you already introduced like too much value versus what they can give to you. That's just my opinion. But hey, don't shoot me, right? But again, loneliness is the thing that's killing. Like, loneliness is the thing is that, like, that people obsess about. Loneliness is the thing that people kind of focus on, right? So loneliness is the thing that, like, I was really wanting to come in and talk to you guys, like, bro, we can't keep going like this, where you always want to be in a crowd of people, because at the end of the day, that crowd of people can do for you is just be there. The crowd of people is just a crowd of people. Sometimes you talk to them, sometimes you don't, but they're just there for you. Like, to be in the crowd of people is not the fun part. To be in a crowd of people is not the entertaining part. It's the moments. And I feel like you can have your best moments by your damn self. That's just me. Like, your best moments when you're watching a funny movie and you bust out laughing and no one's beside you. That is something you remember. When you get good news and you're dancing in your room, that's something you remember. When you get bad news and you're crying to yourself, that's something you remember. Your best moments sometimes are with yourself. Just saying. So anyway, again, I'm a ranter guy, so I always say, like, take what you will from the rant. If you get something, great. If you don't, I apologize. But I'm just a ranter. I'm just sharing my thoughts. But and my Ghanaianism might come out. You know what I'm saying? I always say my Ghanaianism might come out so because I apologize. Right? But loneliness versus being alone. Loneliness versus being alone. That's the topic that I thought to share in today's session. Again, we're on PYM Live. If anyone's watching this or seeing this, subscribe. That's what they say. Subscribe. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna keep saying it because that's what they all say. So until I see something. All right. But I think being alone has a negative connotation, and I feel like PYM militia. I like saying PYM militia. I just shot it in someone's ear. I want us to break that. I feel like being alone is not a negative thing. I feel, one, because when you're alone with your thoughts, that is where you best reflect. When you're alone with your thoughts, that is where you best really observe. When you're just alone. Being alone is sometimes, and I understand why people don't like to be alone, because it can be scary when you're just by yourself. If you're in a good situation, it can be fun. If you're in a bad situation, it can be really scary. Because you feel like, there's nothing to distract you. And I said it last time that we're going to talk about good distractions versus bad distractions. We'll talk about that at a later date. But there's nothing to distract you from just you. And I don't know why that's scary to people. Like, if you don't know, again, when you're focusing on loneliness, you might be deflecting what makes you you. But when you are just alone, you get to develop what makes you you, right? Like, I feel like I'm a person that, like, I'm highly adaptable, and I'm not really bothered by a lot of things. That's just the truth for me, right? But I had to learn that about myself, right? How do you best present yourself if you don't know yourself, right? And I feel like the best place to know yourself is when you're by yourself, right? And when you're by yourself, the easiest thing to do is distract yourself, right? But it's there that you find, like, What makes you you? What is me? What is, like, who am I, this person at this time? Because you're always changing. We always say we're changing every day. We're growing every day. So if you're growing every day and you're changing every day, why don't not take the time to, assess the daily changes? Because you be shocked to find that the things that made you laugh maybe a year ago don't make you laugh right now. The things that make you cry a year ago don't make you cry right now. Or the things that upset you maybe a year ago upset you even further now. Like, every day you're changing because you're interacting with people, right? And you're interacting with your environment. So if that's the case, why not spend time with yourself to figure out where you are in your development? And I feel like it's hard to know what you're saying or who you are if there's always chatter around you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just hard. So, like, I mean, like, how do you do that then? Like, how would you best grow if you don't know yourself? You know what I mean? Like, that is just not, it's just not efficient. It's just not efficient. So I think, like, if anything at all, like, it's a steady thing of embrace being by yourself. I'll share one too about myself. Like, one thing I learned about myself is that I love, listen to me, I have no shame, I no cares what you think, I love Chinese fan fiction. I'm so serious. Like, Chinese authors write the best stories I've ever read in my life, right? And I, like, when I say I enjoy those things, I can read a Chinese novel. I don't know. I can read a Chinese novel for 6 hours straight. Like, no hesitation. Right? And some might find that weird. Some might find that lame. Some might find that goofy. I don't care. It's my enjoyment, not yours. You know what I'm saying? It's my enjoyment. And I enjoy that. Right? But I discovered that about myself because I found, like, yeah, I don't mind a movie. I don't mind going out. I don't mind hanging with friends. But when I want something that's really entertaining for me and I have a period of time, I will pick up a Chinese book. You won't find me. I'm in the covers and I'm reading that thing, right? So, but I discovered that about myself. The one thing I also do is, like, me, when it comes to, like, and I'll give game on, like, my, like, survival of this thing called the mind. This is me as when it comes to, like, dealing with other people interactions. Me, I'll describe myself when it comes to social interactions as, like, I'm an introvert, sure, but I'm a good conversationalist. So how I do things is that I have, like, a battery when it comes to social interactions. I have a good battery. Like, when the battery is charged, oh, hey, man, how you doing? Good to see you. We chop it up, whatever the case may be. We'll chop it up. But the moment that battery is done, I disappear. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't open my mouth again. Right? So I know that. So when I'm, depending on the space or on the scene, I leverage that. So if I know that I'm going to be somewhere for like 2+ hours, I'll make sure that I do all the hello highs within the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And then I lock in on, like, one person. We talk for like another 20 minutes. My battery's at 50%. Then I read the room 1, 2, hello, hi, and I'm done. After that 30 minute, 45 minute interactions, I'm not opening my mouth again. I might just go and hide in my car, and then you won't see me again because I don't want to open my mouth. But I discovered that, right? And I only discovered that because, again, being alone, I realized that that's the best way to go through conversations in social settings. I'm not a social butterfly. It's just not me. Right? So that's one thing I discovered. So your best discoveries often when it comes to how to, best use your strengths and your skill sets come by spending time with yourself. So that's one thing. So I feel like I don't want to, I'm tired of the stigma of, like, being alone sucks. Being alone does not suck. At any phase of life, I don't care whether it's 18, 25, 30. Being alone does not suck. Suffering from loneliness sucks, but being alone is fantastic if you let it be. It can be scary if you let it be, but it's a blank canvas. It's loneliness that can kill you. But being alone is no problem at all if you utilize it well. Now, if you don't utilize it well, it'll dwaddle into loneliness. That's just my thing. All right. But yeah, man, that's just something I thought, to share. Again, my rants. This is my place to rant. So I'm always gonna be ranting. Pick from it what you will. But I thought I'd give game on that. But yeah, just what to expect from the PYM live show. Again, these are all soft launches. I'll just call them soft launches. Is that I am no expert. I say every time, I'm no expert. I'm no motivational speaker. I refuse to be. I don't have all the answers. I don't know anything. So you teach me. But what I can assure you on PYM Live is we will figure out what the answers are. I'm committed to get experts, to get everyday people to just come share how they survive this thing called life and how they survive it, keeping this thing strong, and that's what PYM Live is going to be. We have a lot of things coming up, and I'm very excited to do it, step by step, and I will get better, small. I didn't have listen, last week I didn't have lights, or last episode I didn't have lights. You know what I'm saying? Now we have lights. Levels don't change. I'm just saying. Small. Soon we'll have music. We'll have this whole thing popping. But don't mind me. Just something to look forward to. But yeah, there's a lot of fun I have in store, and some things that we have coming up that I think is gonna be pretty cool to share as we kind of keep growing. But yeah, moving on. Okay, so I said, I'm gonna pick something that's going on today, and I said I'll just give my thoughts on it. And, I don't know for anyone who, lives in planet Earth. If you live in planet Earth, specifically this North America, there's something going on. There's something going on. Are we good? Undefined. We know what that means. Okay, but there's something going on into the current times that I thought that's pretty interesting, and it has to do with the one and only Kanye West. And I said that I'm going to talk about just daily little things that I see that I thought are interesting to pick up to talk about. And, I know Kanye West is going crazy. Everybody says he's going crazy. He's losing his mind, whatever the case may be. And I'm not even I'm not here to defend or criticize the brother. Whatever is going on with him, shout out to him. I don't know for you, bro. Do your own thing. But for me, I wanted to look at it from a bigger perspective, and I was going to get clips of what he was saying. But I think I'm just going to rock out on it once. Everybody knows what's going on. Obviously, for those who don't know, he said, George Floyd. He wasn't really, he didn't really die from choking. He put on a White Lives Matter t-shirt. He did all these antics. He pandered to he said the Jews are attacking him. He said all kinds of fantastic things, right? And for me, I didn't as much as, don't get me wrong, the man is in his own world. I'm not even trying to attack that. But I want to look at it from a bigger perspective. And I feel that it's very interesting how we as people, young, old, black, white, green, blue, it's interesting our relationship with both famous people and celebrities. And I know, and I'm gonna talk on it a little bit further, but it's that the first thing I thought of when I saw, I like to listen to clips of things that are going on, like current affairs, general news, like that. When I saw the clips of what was happening, for me, it was just interesting to see how one man, just based on fame or based on talent, have so much cachet with the everyday person. And I feel like that is a kind of dangerous relationship to kind of keep promoting. And I don't mean it to say it's not hate and it's not shade, but how long in our history of technology, in our history of society, history of the internet, how long do we keep putting people in such high places of esteem in our hearts just because they're famous? I don't think it makes much sense, because no matter what, the person may be famous for their name, may be famous for their talent, may be famous for their skill. It doesn't make sense why that person then becomes someone of so much high acclaim to the everyday man. And I don't think it makes sense for us to keep setting up a society like that. I keep saying, what makes, let's say, a talented musician all of a sudden an expert on life? Just because they're successful financially? There are other people who are equally as successful in other industries. Is it because they're famous? There are other people who are famous for one reason or the other. So being rich and being famous no longer, it doesn't make sense for them to have high levels of acclaim just because they're rich or just because they're famous. Because what happens is that you have people who build people up to high platforms and build people up to high esteem where they feel entitled to just speak anything that comes out of their mind, right? So I don't think it's like if we're not gonna change like how we set them up, I feel like it's more important to change how we view them, bro. We can't like it doesn't make much sense that just because someone is has a certain number of followers, or someone is a really good singer, or someone is a notable rapper or a notable athlete, they become an expert on life. Like when? Like why does that correlation automatically like? I feel like the only people who should be motivated, like should take hold people in such high regard, are people who are pursuing their profession or their talent. Like for me, I would only hold the cachet of a Kanye West if I wanted to become a producer. You know what I'm saying? For his talent, for music. I would only hold him in high regard if I wanted to become a musician and his ability to put beats together. But I cannot say I'm going to live my life, let's say as a father or a businessman or whatever the case may be, based off of the movements of the person or who the person is. You look on, it's like you don't go to, if you want a, like, why is it that when it comes to fame and entertainment specifically, like if we want like information on, let's say, buildings, you know what I'm saying, we go to builders. If we want information on legal stuff, we go to lawyers. But for some strange reason, when it comes to life, we go to entertainers. Like, how does that correlate? Where we hold them to high such esteem that we always take what they say so highly. Now, don't get me wrong. Clearly, they have traits of like success because they've worked hard. They've expanded on their talent. They've leveraged their tools, and now they are where they are. They've been persistent. So there's underlying characteristics when you come to like famous people that probably you can take and use as little bouts of inspiration. Fine. But I feel like there's inspiration, there's role models, and then there's leaders, right? It's inspiration, role models, leaders. I think it's dangerous for the way we set up our brains that we put people who are maybe could be inspirations as leaders, or we put people who could be inspiration as role models. It doesn't make much sense. You know what I'm saying? Because the people who you let into your ears are super important, right? So why do we continue to allow such people such high levels of access to our ears? You know what I mean? Like, it's not shade or it's not shots, but we can't, like, I feel like it's weird in a way that we continue to push people of high acclaim just because they're famous, bro. Anybody can be famous. Now, if they're talented, that makes them unique. But unless you want to pursue that same uniqueness of if it's music or if it's an athlete or if it's a whatever, if you can't replicate the uniqueness, they don't need to have cachet in your life, bro. It just, no. Why? It doesn't make much sense to me. So as much as Kanye West is going crazy and he's saying a lot of crazy stuff, I'm not gonna lie, it's not necessarily him who's like him. He is who he is, bro. But I feel it's that, as people begin to show you who they are, believe them, number one, but don't overly rate them. We like, why? Just because someone is a rapper or someone is a singer or a dancer or Insta famous, they deserve cachet in your life? Now you call them leaders of society? What kind of nonsense is that? Like, for what? Like, why? No. You can't lead nothing in my life, bro. Nah, I might look at your underlying things. I might look at your underlying, characteristics. You were perseverant. You know what I'm saying? You persevered and now you succeeded. I respect that. I can learn from that. You leverage your talents. I can respect that. I can learn from that. But to now tell me you now have a say when it comes to my views on leadership or my views on society or my views. Why? So if you know that inherently that when someone is talented, they can't. It's like you don't tell your lawyer to lead your life just because they're your lawyer. You don't tell your doctor for life points just because they're good at checking your heart rate. So why then do you ask entertainers, or why then do you put so much cash into entertainers' life just because they're good at entertaining you? Why? So anyway, it's again, this is a rant. I love to rant. It's interesting to see that like when it comes to entertainment, because we put so much value in it, they all of a sudden become life leaders. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's very much interesting to see. So I thought I'd give my 2 cents on it. But other than that, I hope him well in all things. It's not it's but hey, the PYM militia. I just like saying that. We over here. We can't be putting square. What is it? Put square blocks in round holes. No, I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's the best thing to do for this thing. So let them be there. You can be aware, but you don't have to be involved. You know what I mean? Don't waste your energy. Don't waste your time. But other than that, yeah, we're rocking. We're moving on. I think we should be still. I don't know if we're live. Let me check if we're live on Facebook. Let me see what's going on. We should be okay. We live on Facebook. We live on Facebook. We should be live on Twitch. We should be live on YouTube. I said I'm getting better. Every day I'm getting better at this. So give me grace, guys. Every day I'm getting better. But other than that, some things to come. I wanted to keep this a little bit short and sweet. Some things to come. I am working on getting a 1-2 experts as we grow this to talk about everyday life and stuff like that to come on the stream and talk to us. And other than that, I will have a Discord I'll set up. I want to just interact with people just to say, hey, if you have a question, on a topic or something that we can share on, I'll just do that. So the Discord is to come, because again, it's not just my information. You may have information that can help me or someone else, so we're going to leverage all information because again, we can't go on with, we don't have enough research. Like I said on the first day, everybody keeps using, I don't have enough research as the, as the excuse. So now we'll find the research because we have to get better. We will find the research. The research could be in your mouth or it could be on Google. Either way, we're going to find it. You know what I mean? We're going to find it. That's for sure. But yeah, other than that, I think, what else do we have? I think that's what I have on my schedule for today. But it's been fun. I think I have everything I wanted to cover. Just this 1-2. We in and we out. We growing. It's been fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's a quick show, not too long. But one thing I always say when I come on here is I wish you perfect health. I wish you perfect wealth. I wish you perfect love. And I wish you perfect self-expression. And then in all that you do, that your mind will be secure and growing every single day. All right, I'm gonna say that every single time I come on the stream, because at the end of the day, it's the focus. It's the only focus. The world is getting more and more complex, and there's nothing more complex than the mind. So that's what we focus on over here. But yeah, man, it was cool. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe. That's what I always say. I hate it. Subscribe. We on Twitch at PYM Live Official, on YouTube as PYM Live, and then we have our Facebook page as PYM Live as well. Pretty much more to come. I'll be back on Sunday, 9:30 sharp. Maybe 9:35 as I always say, because technicalities are getting better. Technical stuff is getting better. Very soon I'm gonna figure out, how to. Okay, I'm gonna figure out how to do switches and stuff. So we get in there. We get slow but sure. We get in there. This is not the final. I could just be rocking out here by myself, which is okay. But we're getting there. You know what I mean? We're getting there slow but sure. But thanks so much for anyone who was watching. Shout out Sam. Shout out Ivan who's been watching. We're getting better every single day. Y'all have a great night. This was a lot of fun. Hope I can help someone. Hope someone benefit from the rants. I'll be back with more rants on Sunday. Y'all have a great night.